It's Nick Shell again, the guy that you subscribed to recently, who only talks about hair loss as if he were obsessed with hair loss. I've got a comment here on a video I made called Scientific Proof Bald Men Are More Attractive. And basically I was just reading an article and sharing that with you. I got a comment, and I have to say, this is one of my most favorite sign-in usernames I've ever seen that I've responded to. Here it is, Sack Full of Apples 1993. It's spelled a little bit differently than you might expect, but Sack Full of Apples. I mean, there's so many possibilities with that name as far as why do you have a sack full of apples? Why so many apples? Why apples? What are you going to do with the apples? Lots of questions. But I'm okay with that remaining a mystery because I'm here to be the opposite of a mystery. I'm here to provide solid answers for people about hair loss because, let's face it, there's really not a lot out there in the world. Therefore, you depend on a very unprofessional YouTuber like me. So here we go, Sackful of Apples 1993. Quote, do you have tips on getting haircuts? It feels like whenever I go to the barber shop, the knuckleheads spray tons of water on my fine hair and pull and yank on it, and I feel like I lose the most of my hair during this. I saw in a previous video you said just to get a low fade, but what about the top? End quote. Now, again, Sackful of Apples, I like you and I want to help. I'm going to predict that someone by the name of Maxwell Smart is going to leave a comment, probably be one of the first people to comment on this video. He is my in-house professional barber. He has been one of the most faithful watchers of my videos, faithful commenters on my videos. When it comes to any kind of technical advice, he's your guy. He's a barber who was born in Canada for reasons we don't know, ended up somewhere generically in Germany from what we can understand. A movie will probably be made about his life at some point. He's your go-to guy. He's going to probably tell more about this. And thank you in advance, Max Smart, for doing that. So my advice, if you have fine thinning hair and you're losing hair in the process, what should you do when you go to the barber? What do I suggest? I'd already said a low fade, but what about the top? You know, it's an interesting question because I feel personally I'm right here in the midst of this. In case you missed this recently, quite recently, I was in Hollywood, and a hairdresser that cuts men's hair for Access Hollywood gave me this hairstyle, gave me this haircut for free because I was part of a show that is going to air in America on a network I can't yet say in January 2018. And he had to model my hair off after someone who had a Norwood 1. Otherwise, I would have been more likely to actually go with a form of a crew cut, which would have been a number 1 on the sides and the back. And I'm still experimenting when I do get my next haircut in a month or whatever, what I'm going to do about the top. Now, I measured it officially this weekend, and of course it is tapered, so I mean it's like jagged like your fingers are. It's not straight all the same length to give it more of a fuller look or whatever. But it comes to 2.5 inches on the top. So if you like what you see here, this is 2.5 inches on the top, but again that's tapered, so it's different lengths, just like your fingers are. Now you're comparing your hand to mine. You're thinking, man, his pinky is really small, but and then you're like comparing your fingers to mine. 2.5 inches is what you're saying here. And what I feel is 2.5 inches is about all I can get away with as far as shortness goes, because when I look in the mirror, I can see thinning. I think anything less than this, and I was recently looking at some old photos that I was using as screenshots for other videos, and there was one where my hair was 3/8 of an inch. No, it was 3/8. Yeah, would that be right? 3/8 of an inch. 3/8 of an inch, and it just looks so bad on me. You could just tell all the thinning. So I think for me, I'm personally learning 2.5 inches on top for me, and then I'm gonna try to go with a number 1 on the sides and the back. They might have to take. I can't gamble too much with this length on top, but at the same time, I want this concept of a haircut that's low maintenance, where it shields the thinning, and then I can keep it nice and clean on the sides and the back. So that's my next experiment that I'm gonna try it. So in another month, you can kind of follow up and see if I was able to do that and get away with it. It's all about the proportions, and as you thin and recede even more, it's all about what can I get away with. And your hairstyle becomes a paradox within itself, is that you have hair for the purpose of hiding the fact that you've got a receding hairline and hair loss without getting to the point where it's officially a comb over. So that's why I'm really not worried about just starting to buzz it off when that time comes in my life, because then I won't have to think about these proportions anymore. And even then, when I finally, every time I find a new hairstyle that I like that works for me, then I'm over it and I'm ready to think, well, what else could I still get away with? So what I'm going to say is, number 2 is also a good way to go, I feel. Number 2 also on the sides and the back. As far as the top, I think it has a lot to do with your hairline. I've got a Norwood 3, I've got thinning. If I go much shorter than this on top, I feel that it just becomes too obvious with the thinning. And I've got just enough pomade in here to kind of, in the way it's tapered, to keep that from being obvious. Right there, you can even see where the Norwood 3 is showing up right there, can't you? So there's my, and look, I can't even fix it because there's so much receding and thinning going on. So there's my very unprofessional opinion on how you should get your hairstyle if you at least have a similar hair situation as me. And again, remember, I am useless. Who is useless? Maxwell Smart. He will surely show up and save the day. And he'll say, nice try, Nick. All respect to you, Nick. But the real answer is, and then he'll leave it. And then we'll be like I keep saying, Maxwell Smart the barber, who lives in Germany, who was born in Canada, needs his own channel.